Testing one, two, three. Testing one, two, three. Can everybody hear me okay? We're waiting just a little bit. We're a little behind the eight ball with all this market stuff. So just give it a second. Maybe we can play the tune. If we can do that, get us all fired up and ready to go.
Hey, Tom, I sent you a text and we just listened to the tune. I mean, certainly listen to it again, but I sent you a text. Something tells me Tom can't hear us. Can you hear me, Tom? Yeah. Okay. I'll have to call Tom and see if we can't get his sound fixed.
In the meantime, while Jonathan's calling Tom, I can tell you that RB4 in the S&P futures opened at 69.2550. Of course, we have a high at 69.30, and market pulled back to 69.24 already. Now, what we're looking for here, we're looking for the market to show us some sort of sense of direction up here at the top. We've got this very strong market. We're about 24 hours away from the FOMC. And, you're looking around at all the traditional indications. Russell futures still a little bit weak on the day, but certainly well up from those RB3 lows. And most of these markets making big turns with that Genesis bar low, 69.0350 in the S&P. Over in the NASDAQ, the Genesis bar low was 26,008.25, and for the Dow, 47,857. And just take a look at where these markets are trading right now, and you see that they have moved up. So, risk disclaimer: there's a very high degree of risk involved in trading, and past performance is not indicative of future results, though.
And the main thing I'd like to add is worry about the risk of everything first, where you can last long enough to figure out what to do and educate yourself. Those two things right there will keep you in the game, I think. Worrying about that risk and then educating yourself. I think education separates a lot of people, but you got to put some work in sometimes to learn about things. You got to learn about vocabulary. You got to learn about what words mean when it comes to trading. There's a whole, I guess, dictionary full of trading words. And what we try to do here is give it to you through our white papers that we've done. And the idea is learn about this stuff, learn how to use your platform, learn how to use these tools. I think until today, we hadn't covered the moneymaker, how I'm posting what I'm using for support and resistance throughout the 24-hour period, which makes it pretty nice to have that experience for those numbers. And so far today, we're still long. And last night we got long, and this morning we got long, and today we got long. Our power program knocked it out of the park. It had 3 great trades today. And where those trades come from? Tickers that I follow. I didn't venture out there and say, hey, try this stock here. These are tickers that I follow and following the reference bars. I had one of the customers this morning tell me, Tom, I got a thick head, but now I understand why you always are emphasizing the reference bars. My account is almost doubled once I woke up to how good this roadmap and it is. And so I would tell you very simply, get your questions out of the way anytime we're live. And speaking of that, has anybody got any questions? Because this is about you, not about me. This is about you. Anybody got any questions before I get into it today? We got some time to cover some stuff, but give me any questions you might have. I'd rather you ask the question than to sit back and make a mistake and lose money. And Chuck's the same way, Jonathan's the same way. We care about how you do. Kevin, have you been down to one of my small classes? And Claire, you need to come. Well, what's stopping you, Kevin? What is stopping you from getting down here? And you too, Claire, I'd love for you to come. Debbie Ronnie came and she sees the extra support. I tell you what, if you two get signed up today, I'll give you a special deal. Call Kelly Barber. I'll give you a special deal if you sign up today. Rudy, you don't need it put in there. MTI, he's talking about the Genesis bar being put, it's already integrated. Now, right here is this article, and we'll have it a little bit more formal, but it talked about 24-hour trading. And basically what it said, that Robinhood, Schwab, and Charles and Interactive Brokers are offering it now. Other companies will come online or they'll fall behind with 24-hour trading. They talk about you got to use limit orders. That's no big deal. I like the ability to be able to get in and out of some of these stocks sometimes when they soar after hours. Several things that you need to know, but this article was the first time I saw anything like it in Barron's, and I took a real quick snapshot, and that's good. Sure, Vestavia, put your name and email, and Jonathan write his name down, and then have Kelly call me, and I'll tell him what the special deal is to come to the small class. Not yet, Jennifer. I hadn't heard any words on that yet. She's asking about the. Put your phone number too. Put your phone number. We got to get it done today if we're going to do it. I like the way you stepped up there. Your deal just got better. I'm saying if you sign up for the small class today, I will give you a special deal that's only reserved for people that's come, but we'll do it today only. It's called Futures Plus Desert. It's where I teach people in 2 days what it takes in about 1.5 years to learn. You don't believe that, do you? You ought to sit with me for two days. As one of the last students said, my head is spinning, but spinning in the right direction. All right, education for today. Jonathan, this is the importance of 8 o'clock at night. Let me give you a little settlement information. You'll read that in the article, but at 8 o'clock at night, these stocks start trading for the next day, where futures start trading at 6. They ought to have it synced up, but they don't. It's 8 o'clock at night, these stocks start trading. And what I found, those opening prices pay off.
All right, Tom. Yeah, we're not talking about 8 o'clock in the morning. Not talking about your coffee hour.
No, we're talking about 8 o'clock at night.
Yep. 8 p.m.
Jonathan had his eyes open today when I've told him this before, but when he saw how I use it, he goes, Boy, I see it now. And then, you got to follow the money. And this is how you follow the money. Happens at 8 o'clock at night. And the roadmap keeps up with it, by the way, 8 Eastern time.
That's right. Just like the slide says here, 8 Eastern time. So the question is, when do stocks stop trading after hours and when do they start up again for the next day? That's the question. We got a new framework. Probably going to change again. But under the current framework, Tom, the after hours trading, you say stops at 7:45 Eastern and starts up again the next day at 8 p.m.
Now, what this means, if you got a small account and you've long a stock and you wait to after 8, it counts for the next day. It doesn't count as a day trade. See, that's the line in the sand that makes it a day trade. Everybody understand that? I've done a lot of trades today for people. Jonathan will tell you about it. Jonathan, what did I do today? I took some profits, didn't I? I also put on some new ones, didn't I?
Yeah, as far as the live trading with TBUZ program, we've got those 10 stocks you're getting into, and NNE got us into a new half position today. As far as options trading goes, we closed out a profit today. We'll talk about that here in a little bit, actually. That's just in the TBUZ live trading program. Across the rest of your services, Tuesday Power Play was very active this morning. Got into 3 trades and they hit target. So 3 quick hitters, like a good
Jonathan
Tuesday
said to me, I got to tell you the conversation. I'll share it with you, Jonathan. Jonathan said, we got the Fed meeting, we got some news, we got just a lot of stuff, coming in. And he said, we going to trade power this week? And ordinarily we wouldn't. I said, Jonathan, when they're paying like they're paying now, I'm going to trade it. It's a special situation. So I did trade power today, and we hit 3 home runs in there, just like the Dodgers did last night to win that game.
18 innings. Can't you believe that? Didn't take
18 innings.
Didn't take 18 innings for power play. Didn't take 18 innings for power play this morning, that's for sure.
Don't y'all like knowing stuff 99% of people don't know? Like what we're just talking about here? Laura, I hadn't seen anything you type. Maybe you ought to type it again. What do you want to say about NVIDIA?
Yeah, I see Laura's question. She says, can you explain that? What do you mean by half position of NNE? Half position. Laura, were you in Train and Trade yesterday? Were you in our 1:30 session yesterday or today? Well, if you were there, you understand that Tom's got a 10 stock portfolio. That model portfolio is going by. He's using $10,000 as a hypothetical. We don't know what kind of account size you have, so we're just using 10,000 as a base. Dividing equally into 10 stocks, that's $1,000 total, and a half position would be
In each silo.
right in each stock, meaning silo, and then that's $500, right? So that's what a half position is, 500 of your $1,000 total. Not exact, but somewhere around there. Now, folks, and Mr. Kelly says it's already up 8%. How about that?
Hold it, stop the presses. You mean here I've done it again? I just give away money and nobody takes it? What's wrong with these people? Mr. Kelly said he took it.
And that's why he's up 8%.
That's why he's up 8%. Everybody else. Maybe I ought to pay attention when those Tommy boys talking.
Yes, Ingrid, you're in the right place. You're here, Ingrid. Folks, Tom's been live. We've been live. Well, it's Tuesday, so Monday we were live for Train and Trade for an hour or more. We invited you back at 1:30 for an hour or more. We've done the same today. all this information was given multiple times during those sessions. We
So
covered.
what does that mean, John? Where could they go listen to it if they had to miss it? Don't we record it?
YouTube channel, dtheater.com/YouTube. dtheater.com/YouTube. And then for those that are, here for the live trading with TBUZ session, we're live today on YouTube because we opened it up to everybody. But going forward, I think next week it'll just be for members, and of course, those recordings will be available on our members website, which is now active. If you're part of the program, you should have a members area now, and you should have a Telegram link you can join. We'll have a section for recordings and education. And if you're not joined yet and you enjoy what we covered today, at the end of today's presentation, you'll have a chance to join once again. So any questions on what we've covered so far? Let's do a review, quick summary so far of what we've talked about. 8 p.m. Eastern Time is a very important time of the night. It's when stocks open and after hours trading for the next trade day. Laura, I'm not going to click on that. But to restate, I think what you're trying to make a point of is that we then talked about the members area, or at some point we talked about the members area access for this program, Live Trading with TBUZ. And on that members area access, you're going to have a link to join the session each day. You're going to have, or I guess it's each week maybe, you're going to have a link to join the Telegram channel where the Zoom link will be posted for you. You're going to have a location to find past slides and past recordings. And you're going to have a trade tracker. And on that trade tracker, you're going to have a tab for options trades, and then you're going to have a tab to track that 10 stock model portfolio there for the last quarter of the year. Any questions on all that? Once again, if you're a member, you should have membership access now inside the members area, and we'll see all that information I just posted. And once today's session is done, you'll see that recording up there. If you're not a member yet, once again, you'll have a chance to join in just a few minutes here. I'll post today's slides once again, and we will get moving through this educational portion, and Tom might have a trade for us here after a little while. Usually wait till
Don't mind about it. I already got it. I'm just waiting for the window to open.
So that's something to look forward to there. So anyhow, that's a big change what they've done with this after hours trading, and it's just opening up, just the beginning. Futures have kind of always been 23.5, give or take. The schedule has changed over the years with futures, but essentially 23.5, 5 days a week, trading 23 hours of the day with only 1 hour halt in between days. But stocks are now essentially going 24 hours. If there's after hours trading until 7:45, and then they pick back up again at 8, that's more.
Right after that, you're going to see options.
Now, that'll be huge once we get the options. So it's a big change. Hey, Chuck, can you tell us, if you're there, I know you're there, but if you're not tied up something else, can you tell us some more about that 8 p.m. Eastern time hour and why it's important with our 24-hour clock?
Yeah, Jonathan, we can get into that. I mean, I think 8 p.m. Eastern, the first thing you have to understand why 8 p.m. Eastern, and large part of that is the Asian cash markets. So when we're talking 8 p.m. Eastern, now we're going to go off of daylight time over the weekend. So the top one is what we've been on all summer. 8 p.m. U.S. Eastern Daylight Time equals 9 a.m. in Tokyo. And then the bottom one is where we're going to next week. And this is going to give us probably a bit of an advantage, actually. The Tokyo Stock Exchange opens at 9 a.m. Japan Standard Time. So that would be 7 p.m. Eastern. So we're going to get like an hour out of Tokyo before we get to the 8 p.m. Eastern uh, stocks opening up. It's going to be a big event, but why 8 p.m. Eastern? It aligns very well with those Asian markets. So we're moving into a global market environment. We want to see how we line up with the rest of the world. And this is why 8 p.m. Eastern is a big deal. Japan opening up, the Asian markets coming online. I think Sydney is an hour ahead of Japan. So with the daylight shift, we'll be coming on at the same time as I believe the Sydney or the Australian All Ordinaries. So you get that Asia Pacific lineup. That's one of the big things. We've always been in touch with the European markets, and this move here opens up that Asian marketplace. So that's a big deal. Let's go on to our next slide, and we're going to take a look at the European futures markets. So 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time is 1 a.m. in Frankfurt, and it will be 2 a.m. in Frankfurt next week after we go to Standard Time. DAX futures trade from 10 after 1 Central European Time to 2200 Central European Time. So essentially, they're opening just before our U.S. Stocks open, that 8 p.m. U.S. Eastern Standard Time frame. So we're going to get the futures markets out of Europe, the cash markets out of Asia, all that coming in line. And that's what we want to take advantage of, that swing into the European and the Asian markets and how it affects our U.S. markets, whether it's futures or now having the cash market there. So that's sort of the big deal that we're looking for. It's get information and have an advantage. So it's all about timing. You get the timing right, but why did the NYSE pick 8 p.m.? Because it lines up with the Asian cash markets opening and the European futures markets opening, because those things have been happening for a while, and we've been taking advantage of that in futures markets for 20, 30 years. And now we got the cash
Absolutely.
market saying we went in on this too. And it's like, okay, great, bring them on. So we're in a pretty solid
Yeah,
place here.
it's sort of like we have the experience going back to my Globex days, and the roadmap is built around that experience. And it's like the client said this morning I was talking to. He said, Tom, huh, for the life of me, I didn't know how important these reference bars are until now. I'm seeing it in my account because came to a small class, got the training I needed, and that was nothing based on the money I'd spent trying to learn stuff, meaning the small class was so valuable.
Yeah, and of course our U.S. futures markets open a few hours prior. What is it, 2 hours prior to this event? So we get a kind of running start into 8 p.m. And that's great when you have a little bit more advantage than everybody else. Those European traders around midnight, they got to rub the sand out of their eyes to figure out what's going on. We're bright and bushy tailed. Just had dinner. We're doing great. So we've got an advantage. We want to see if we can make it stick.
Thanks, Chuck, for covering that. We'll do more as we keep going. But one of the reasons I like having Chuck and Jonathan here, while they're doing that, I'm looking for opportunities in the market that might make us all some money. So that's what I'm doing, but I'm listening because it's very important to review things, I think, especially when you know how important it is. All right. Now here's 3 stocks I made money off all 3 of these stocks, actually options with these stocks, as well as shares of some of it. So let's look at these 3 stocks. I had the numbers. The roadmap keeps up with it for me, but you think you might have some it's like playing poker without cheating, knowing that everybody else is looking at one number and you're looking at the real number, 628.78. Somebody tell me where the QQQ is trading right now. Just type it into the chat room. I want you to see the power of what I'm showing you. There it is. He's got it for you. Look at that, 632. TQQ. I told you this morning at T&T, buy it, look at it. Another scholarship for my T&T people. Look at Tesla. That was my number one horse on my Magic 5. Today I only had a Magic 4. But look at that, 456 to 464. Now, if you don't have 45,000 or whatever it takes to buy Tesla and all that, you can buy an option using my Delta 50 strategy. You see why I'm teaching now? I'm substituting options for people that don't have the size of accounts a lot of people do. Now sometimes I do both. Not every time, but sometimes I do both because it's something that I like doing, okay? Jim made $875. Isn't that great? Carol bought 10 shares and made $200. Another scholarship. Scholarship, man, oh man. If I was in charge of the nation's colleges, nobody would pay tuition if they'd learn what I teach them. They'd be on scholarship. They wouldn't have to be a good athlete either. Just got to be listening and take the trades. That's right. Morning coffee and a TQQ. Anyway, I want to make a point. That makes the point. You see the power of what we're talking about today? Why I have that information? Everybody got that? Okay. That was the point of the education today. It's 2 o'clock. Let's look at a roadmap. We're about done here. Go look at the roadmap, maybe.
Yeah, we can do that.
Oh, we got to do this part. This is the part that I sort of take a parade down Broadway. Look at that one. 13%. I'll take 13%. %. Woo, yeah, that's the SPX program right there. I put it in live trading too, didn't I?
Yep, you sure did. Those were just from our bonus sessions that everyone was invited
to. So basically what we're saying, if you're in my live trading, you got a scholarship 5X so far with all these bonus sessions. That's the bottom line. Everybody understand what I mean by 5X? It cost you $299. If you'd followed putting $1,000 up on what I've done so far, you would have covered the cost of $299. Let me ask you, who would not want to be part of that? Pretty good stuff. All right, what I'd like to do if we're done taking a victory lap here, let's go try to set up some other stuff. Buck said he loves my Delta 10 strategy last night in futures first. Knocked it out of the park. You like the way that worked out for you, Buck? That's like going to the bank and say, I made 40% on that CD. And the bank said, you didn't have a CD with me. You had an E-mini option that went up. Love it. All right, so this is the market right now. Let me tell you where I'm going to direct your attention, okay? I've been talking about the XBI, haven't I? Put XBI in there. Okay, that's XBI, and it's right at the top of 3, okay? Jonathan, on the XBI, why don't we look out to November 21st. See if you can get me a $3 wide one.
Alrighty, November 21st, XBI.
Desert, do you have the roadmap? Get it and I'll explain it. He'll put the link in there where you can buy it.
Down to 114, 117 for that expiration cycle is $1 for a 3-wood.
All right, that's the one we're going to do. Let's wait till after we get confirmation, okay? But that's the one we're going to do. That'll be a spread on XBI out to November 21st, okay?
Yep.
That'll be our trade that we do, okay? All right, time-wise, it's about, what, 2:05?
Yeah, that's what I got.
Well, why don't we do this? Why don't we play the recording, and then I come on at the end of the recording, we do that trade if it sets up.
Okay, let's see if we can't get that going here.